Hello, I wanted to do a video today about something that came up yesterday in Dementia Chats. And as everyone knows, Dementia Chats is one of our spin-off things that we do with Lori LeBay and Leanne and, well, several people on Memory People and others involved. The question came up yesterday about telling time and the date, the day, and the year, things like that. And I remember telling someone who asked the question, I said, I have a terrible time, very difficult time with telling time and what day it is and what date. And I think Steve and Dina both agree with that. They both have difficult times doing that also. But I mentioned, excuse me, I mentioned that to do these things, you have to have a reference point, and I wrote that down so I'd remember it, a reference point. And what I mean by that is I remember when I used to run squad, and we get a run at 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning. You're about half asleep, and you're trying to. They send you out in way out in places that you haven't been to in years, and dark country road, and nobody's got house numbers or mailbox numbers or nothing, and you're trying to find the road you need to get to, and it's an emergency, and it's just not good. And what the problem with that is, a lot of people say, well, get your map out, look at your map. Well, a map is not going to do you a bit of good if you don't have a reference point, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know where the road is. County Road 209 doesn't mean anything if you have no idea where County Road 209 is. You have to have a reference point. So that's when, I get on the cell phone or radio and I call dispatch and I'm like, listen, I need a landmark, I need a reference point, I need something to get us to where we need to go to find this road, let alone the house, And that's what I mean about a reference point as far as me and date and days and years. When I look at the calendar, it doesn't do me a bit of good, I know it's January because it says it at the top of the calendar, plus it's cold out. I have Alzheimer's, I'm not stupid. That's what I like to tell people. But I can't figure out what the date is or what day it is because I don't know. I don't have any reference point to go by. I couldn't tell you whether it's Tuesday or Thursday or things like that because, and the same goes with time. I look at my watch and it say 10:30. Well, in 20 minutes it'll be 10:50 or whatever it is, but it just doesn't mean anything anymore to me. The time thing, 3 minutes could seem like an hour to me. I have a hard time dealing with time like that. So when it comes to knowing what day and date it is, I have to have I can't look at the calendar and figure it out because I don't have a reference point. I have no idea, what day it is or date or nothing. So, and that goes on all the time with this disease. All during your life, everything you do is because of your memory and because of a reference point. What you do today is because of something that you remembered yesterday. What you do later on this afternoon is because of something you remembered when you woke up or whatever, things like that. And when you have this disease, for me anyway, I no longer have that ability. Somebody has to tell me everything because I don't remember. I just don't. I have to be reminded of everything. It doesn't do anybody any good to tell me that, listen, you have a radio show in Tampa, Florida tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Well, it sounds good today telling me, but I'll never remember that. I won't remember it this afternoon, let alone tomorrow at 11 o'clock. It's just not going to happen. So that's where Phyllis, June, and Leanne comes in play. They have to keep on top of that because I can't. I can't. I just can't. And many patients are just exactly like that. Some are worse, obviously. Some are not that bad yet, and things like that. With this disease, it starts in the frontal part of your brain, the frontal lobe, and that's where all your short-term memory is stored, and that's the reason why you have problems with short-term memory, which indeed progresses. And mine has progressed to the stage where my short-term memory is gone. I mean, just gone. So you try to learn to deal with that. This is very difficult, but you don't have a choice, so you just try to deal with it. And in time, your long-term memory, your long-term memory goes as well. So then you're dealing with the lack or loss of your short-term memory plus your long-term memory, and it's just horrific. The only thing worse than losing your mind is actually knowing that it's going on. So reference points are very important to understand as a caregiver, and something else that I think is very understated or not understood very well. I read posts all the time that their loved one did this or they did that, and they won't get in the shower, and they won't do this, and they won't do that, and it's just a losing battle. I mean, I understand as a caregiver how frustrating that is, and how frustrating it has to be day after day or even hour after hour. But it is what it is, and you're never going to fix it. A lot of people ask questions of how to deal with that, and gee whiz, the answers are almost impossible to give because everyone is different, and what works today may not tomorrow. I say this, and to really think about it, if your loved one hasn't taken a bath or a shower in a couple days, that's really not the end of the world. It's not like they're outside exercising or working up a sweat or things like that. Now, I'm sure there are loved ones that don't shower, and they've got a hygiene problem. Nobody likes that. But it's nothing that a bottle or a thing of baby powder won't take care of. What I'm saying is, a patient not wanting to shower or bathe is the least. It sounds like it's the end of the world, but it really isn't, because what's coming down the road is a lot more devastating than that. So pick your battles well. You're not going to win any of them anyway, so I don't know. It's a tough thing. If your loved one just refuses to get in the shower, you're not going to be able to make them. It just ain't going to happen. And when they lash out and they become agitated and they say things, and just keep in mind it's the disease. It sounds like an excuse, but it certainly isn't. It is indeed the disease. I'm not to that point yet, but there are things that I should do that I don't do, that I just don't want to do anymore. I'm positive of that. I can't think of anything right offhand, but I know there are things that I should do that I don't anymore. But I don't know. What I'm trying to say is just pick your battles. Pick your battles, and if your loved one hasn't showered in a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, I don't know. Get the baby powder out, and because getting into a shouting match or whatever is just not the answer. I don't know the answers because I'm a patient, so I'm just trying to tell people from a patient's perspective. If when they indeed get into the middle to late stages of this disease, their mind is not working right. And that's what you got to keep in mind. It has nothing to do with them personally. It's their mind. And anybody that says they understand this and they can give you good advice is just wrong. They might give you advice, but it may work and it may not work. But there is no set standards with this disease. There just isn't. That's very important to me, that everyone know that there is no set of rules or standards that you go by for caregiving. These people that won't place their loved ones because they made a promise 20 years ago, to me that's just not right. But to each their own. If you don't want your loved one to go into a nursing home or an Alzheimer's facility, that's fine. But you're in for a battle. That's for sure. You better be prepared, because I really don't know anybody that can do it. There is people that does it, and that's fine. I'm glad they do, because that's the whole. Everybody wants their loved one to stay at home. It's better for the patient. It's better for the caretakers and family members. And, financially and everything. It's a good deal, you know. Nobody wants to ship their loved one off to a nursing facility, you know, too soon. But here's the deal, you know, there's no downside to placing a loved one, excuse me, too soon. There just isn't. There's all kinds of bad things that can happen if you wait too long. There just is, you know, and they could even be life-threatening. So you want to keep that in mind. That placing a loved one is one of the most loving things that you can do, in my mind. I mean, I know it will be for me. Me and Phyllis June's talked about this and constantly, and she knows exactly that I want to be placed in a facility where I can be taken care of. I mean, I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to. I mean, I just don't. Who in the world would want to lay in bed in their own soiled pants or sheets or whatever, time after time after time, and the struggle it'd be for a 110-pound wife to try to get her 220-pound husband in and out of the shower or in and out of the bathroom or whatever. It's excuse me. These are just things that are nearly impossible to do, and the trouble with it is it continues. It never stops. It continues to get worse. So anyway, I got a feeling I'm rambling. I do that. And if I am, I apologize. So. But I wanted to bring up the reference thing. It's very important that people understand that you got to have a reference to when you have this disease. There's got to be a reference point, and I no longer have a reference point for anything. So that's the reason why I have as many struggles as I do, as other patients do as well. So I hope this video is helpful. Once again, every time I post these, it's just my thoughts. You know, don't mean anything. It's just me and my thoughts as a patient. What works for you is great. You can't take that away from anybody because everybody's different. So it's just how I deal with this disease and what I see and what I think. So, boy, can't quit coughing. So it's time to go. Have a good day, and talk to you later.